Hey there, YouTube. So I am driving the 97 Expedition. It's actually been quite a while since I posted it on YouTube, so I want to go ahead and talk with you guys about a few things that have been done to it, as well as how it's ultimately been holding up. So let's go ahead and start off with the things that have been done to it and kind of work from there. So the first thing is that the air conditioner clutch had to be replaced. Unfortunately, things age, they break, they wear down, so it did have to be replaced as it was making a bunch of racket when the air conditioner was off. Ultimately, the next thing that had to be replaced was the rear shoes, the rear axles, and the rear brake cylinders. Unfortunately, those all were leaking and the shoes were worn down, so those had to be replaced. However, it's safe and sound to drive now, and there's no other issues with this vehicle. In regards to drivability, the vehicle itself has been rather good to drive. That was weird. Has been rather good to drive. It still has a comfortable ride, even though it's a little bit on the rougher end, but it definitely does not feel like it's unstable by any means, and it feels actually rather solid for a 21-year-old vehicle. Ford did well with these Expeditions. I'm not really fond of the new ones, and I'm not fond of their price tag. However, these older ones definitely felt sturdy and they felt rugged, so I do like that feeling that they do provide. It is not fast by any means, and I will show you in a second as soon as I get past here, getting onto the highway. Not very fast by any means. We're in second gear right now, and the 4-speed really does slow it down. However, again, due to the times, this 4-speed was modern technology. This was made back in 97, so, I mean, take it for what it's worth. Not slow by any means, but not crazy fast either. I mean, it does get up and go, but at the same time, you're just like, oh God, will you please get up to speed, like now? But overall, again, not a bad drive whatsoever. It is pretty bumpy at times just because it provides that truck feel. And as you notice that there is a whine. There's a whine coming from the air compressor. Always has been present. Not sure why, but I've heard it on multiple Fords, so I'm not really too worried about it. The only other thing that I've noticed on this vehicle is at around 67 miles an hour, the car kind of shakes up a little bit. And it's not like an unstable shake. Like, it doesn't feel like you're going to be losing control of the vehicle, but it's a vibration. And the only thing I can attribute it to is a possible alignment issue. The vehicle does pull off to the left, even though the crown of the road is to the right, so it definitely needs an alignment for sure. And on top of that, that would be the only thing that I would notice on the vehicle, just due to the fact that no other mechanical components are bad. Like the U-joints are good, the ball joints are good, the engine and transmission are good, the rear or the differentials are good. So, I mean, transfer case is even good. So I'm just like, not even sure what that problem is, but it's not really too big of a deal. This thing is not always driven, so it kind of just hangs out a bit. I'm actually just taking it for a drive right now because it's been sitting for a little bit. In regards to the engine and transmission, again, they're both in sound condition. The engine was rebuilt a couple years ago due to that Ford spark plug problem that they've had. This mainly affected the 5.4 liter Triton V8s, which this one does have. And so that did have to be rebuilt, but it hasn't had any issues since. The transmission has been shifting like butter since it's been bought, so no issues there. Basically, it does only have 4 gears, so it slows the engine down significantly. And I noticed that the first 2 gears are rather wind out, while the third gear is the one where you're really going to be getting the power. The torque converter does lock up, allowing for the engine to utilize the torque. So basically, once they spin 1 and 1, you'll notice that the vehicle picks up and goes a little bit better. Otherwise, though, no other issues have been current on this vehicle. The actual interior is held up quite nicely. The only thing I've noticed is a few scratches here and there, especially around the light switches and the door panel. And ultimately, the seat itself has a little bit of tearing to the leather. But it's only in the driver's seat. All the other seats are actually still pretty good. Rear controls for the air conditioner still work, and all controls still work on the panel as well, or the middle center console. This is not the original stock radio, and the speakers are also not original. Otherwise, though, again, mechanically sound vehicle. It still drives nicely, and everything about it, it's still pretty fun to drive, even for a 21-year-old car. Yeah, it doesn't have all the amenities like the new Expedition does with their, TVs and shit in there that, make the vehicle cost $84,000. Like, no way in hell I would pay for that. Like, no wonder why Ford has to drop their cars, because they actually have to market their SUVs in order to get people to buy them. But regardless, few things that I want to go ahead and do. I want to go ahead and do a few test drive videos of other cars. However, I'm not exactly sure what dealership policies are on that, because I drove a couple Subarus that I would love for you guys to see. I really like the new Crosstrek, even though it's slow as dirt. And I do like the new Legacy. Those CVT transmissions, I'm not very fond of them. However, I will admit, Subaru did a freaking good job on them, because they actually remind you of just a regular automatic transmission. They actually have set quote-unquote gear patterns that work well with the car. And although it is a CVT, it doesn't really feel like it too much, so it is nice. So that's mainly it, you guys. I definitely was a pleasure talking to you, and I'm going to go ahead and go back to studying for finals. But in the meantime, I hope you all have a great night, and God bless. Have a good one.